from Wikipédia, the Free Encyclopedia. Oppenheimer. Cillian Murphy ESJ. Robert Oppenheimer stands in front of the ignited gadget nuclear bomb. Theatrical release poster. Directed by Christopher Nolan. Screenplay by Christopher Nolan. Based on American Prometheus. By Kai Bird. Martin J. Sherwin. Produced by Emma Thomas. Charles Roven. Christopher Nolan. Starring Cillian Murphy. Emily Blunt. Matt Damon. Robert Downey Jr. Florence Pugh. Josh Hartnett. Casey Affleck. Rami Malek. Kenneth Branagh. Cinématographie Rohit Van Watema. Edited by Jennifer Lam. Musique by Ludwig Göransson. Production Compagnie Syncope Inc. Atlas Entertainment. Distributed by Universal Pictures. Release date Juillet 11, 2023, Le Grand Rex. Juillet 21, 2023, United States and United Kingdom. Running time 180 minutes 1. Countries. United States. United Kingdom. Langage English. Budget $100 millions 2. Box office $976,8 millions 34. Oppenheimer is a 2023 biographical drama film written, produced, and directed by Christopher Nolan. 5. It follows the life of J. Robert Oppenheimer, the American theoretical physicist who helped develop the first nuclear weapons during World War II. Based on the 2005 biography American Prometheus by Kai Bird and Martin J. Sherwin, the film dramatizes Oppenheimer's study, HIS direction of the Los Alamos Laboratory and HIS 1954 security hearing. Cillian Murphy stars as Oppenheimer, alongside Robert Downey Jr. as the United States Atomic Energy Commission member Lewis Strauss. The ensemble supporting cast includes Emily Blunt, Matt Damon, Florence Pugh, Josh Hartnett, Casey Affleck, Rami Malek, and Kenneth Branagh. Oppenheimer was announced in September 2021. It was Nolan's first film not distributed by Warner Bros. Pictures since Memento, 2000, due to HIS conflicts regarding the studio's simultaneous theatrical and HBO Max release schedule. 6. Murphy was the first cast member to join, with the rest joining in between November 2021 and April 2022. Pre-production began by January 2022, and filming took place from February to May. The cinématographie, Rohit Van Watema, used a combination of IMAX 65 mm and 65 mm large format film, including, for the first time, scenes in IMAX black and white film photography. As with many of HIS previous films, Nolan used extensive practical effects, with minimal compositing. Oppenheimer premiered at Le Grand Rex in Paris on Juillet 11, 2023, and was theatrically released in the United States and the United Kingdom on Juillet 21 by Universal Pictures. IT's concurrent release with Warner Bros. Barbie was the catalyst of the Barbenheimer phenomenon, encouraging audience to see both films as a double feature. Oppenheimer grossed over $976 millions worldwide, becoming the highest grossing film of 2023, the highest grossing worldwide related film, the highest grossing biographical film and the second highest grossing R-rated film at the time of its release. The recipient of many accolades, Oppenheimer was nominated for leading 13 categories at 96 TH Academy Awards, and won leading 7, including Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Murphy, and Best Supporting Actor, Downey. It also won 5 Golden Globe Awards, including Best Motion Picture Drama, and 7 British Academy Film Awards, including Best Film, and was named one of the top 10 films of 2023 by the National Board of Review and the American Film Institute. It has been named one of the greatest films of the 2020s and the 21st century. Plot. While the film is shown in an nonlinear narrative, the following is the chronological order of events that happen in the film. In 1926, 22-year-old doctoral student J. Robert Oppenheimer grapples with anxiety and homesickness while studying experimental quantum physics under Patrick Blackett at the University of Cambridge in England. Oppenheimer clashes with Blackett, leaving him a poisoned apple, but later retrieves it. Visiting scientist Niels Bohr advises Oppenheimer to study theoretical physics at the University of Göttingen in Germany. Oppenheimer completes his PhD and meets scientist Isidor Isaac Rabi. They later meet theoretical physicist Werner Heisenberg in Switzerland. Wanting to expand quantum physics research in the US, Oppenheimer teaches at the University of California, Berkeley and the California Institute of Technology. He marries Catherine Kitty Punning, a biology and ex-communist, and has an intermittent affair with Jean Tatlock, a troubled communist psychiatrist who later dies in an apparent suicide. When nuclear fission is discovered in 1938, after the Germans succeed in splitting the atom, Oppenheimer realizes it can be weaponized. In 1942, during World War II, US Army Colonel Leslie Groves, the director of the Manhattan Project, recruits Oppenheimer as the director of the Los Alamos Laboratory to develop an atomic bomb. Oppenheimer fears the German nuclear research program, led by Heisenberg, might yield a fission bomb for the Nazis sooner. Oppenheimer assembles a team consisting of Rabi, Hans Bethe, and Edward Teller, and collaborates with the scientists Enrico Fermi, Leo Szilard, and David L. Hill at the University of Chicago. Teller's calculations reveal an atomic detonation could destroy the world. After consulting with Albert Einstein and driving better do his own calculations on the matter, Oppenheimer concludes the chances are near zero. Teller attempts to leave the project after his proposal to construct a hydrogen bomb is rejected, but Oppenheimer convinces him to stay. After Germany's surrender in 1945, some scientists question the bomb's relevance. Oppenheimer believes it would end the ongoing Pacific War and save lives. The Trinity test is successful, and President Harry S. Truman orders the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, resulting in Japan's surrender. Though publicly praised, Oppenheimer is guilt-ridden and haunted by the destruction and mass fatalities. After Oppenheimer expresses his remorse to Truman, the President berates him and dismisses his plea to cease further atomic development. As an advisor to the United States Atomic Energy Commission, AEC, Oppenheimer's stance generates controversy, while Teller's hydrogen bomb receives renewed interest amidst the burgeoning Cold War. AEC Chairman Lewis Strauss resents Oppenheimer for publicly dismissing Strauss's concerns about exporting radioactive isotopes and for recommending negotiations with the Soviet Union after the Soviets successfully detonated their own bomb. Strauss also believes that Oppenheimer denigrated him during a conversation Oppenheimer had with Einstein in 1947, though he had in fact expressed his belief that he had caused a chain reaction that would one day destroy the world. In 1954, wanting to eliminate Oppenheimer's political influence, Strauss secretly orchestrates a private security hearing before a personnel security board concerning the renewal of Oppenheimer's clearance, during which his loyalty to the United States is questioned. However, the hearing is a kangaroo court. OpenMRS Pest Communist Ties are resident HIS Associate Testimony is twisted against him, with TLES being the most damaging. After Kitty vigorously defends herself and her husband, the Board no longer suspect OpenMR of disloyalty but still revokes HIS clearance, thereby damaging HIS public image and limiting HIS influence on American nuclear policy. In 1959, during Strauss' Senate confirmation hearing for Secretary of Commerce, il unexpectedly testifies about Strauss' personal motives for engineering OpenMR's downfall. Strauss' nomination is narrowly voted down, in Regine Rim. In 1963, President Lyndon B. Johnson presents OpenMR with the Enrico Fermi Award. Cast. Hector Cillian Murphy in Berlin, Germany, in 2017. Portrait of J. Robert OpenMR. Cillian Murphy, left, plays J. Robert OpenMR. Cillian Murphy J. Robert OpenMR, a theoretical physicist and director of the Los Alamos Laboratory. 7. Emily Blunt a Catherine Kitty OpenMR, Robert OpenMR's wife and a former Communist Party USA member. 8. Matt Damon a Jane. Leslie Groves, a United States Army Corps of Engineers, USAS, officer and director of the Manhattan Project. 9. Robert Downey Jr. a Rear Admiral Lewis Strauss, a retired Naval Reserve officer and a ranking member of the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission, AEC. 9. Florence Pugh Agent Atlock, a psychiatrist, Communist Party USA member, and Robert OpenMR's romantic interest. 10. Josh Hartnett as Ernest Lawrence, a Nobel-winning nuclear physicist who worked with OpenMR at the University of California, Berkeley. 11-12. Casey Affleck a Boris Paich, a U.S. Army Military Intelligence Officer and Commander of the Alsos Mission. 13. Rami Malek a David Halil, a nuclear physicist at the Metallurgical Laboratory, who helped to create the Chicago Pill. 10. Kenneth Branagh a Niels Bohr, a Nobel-winning Danish physicist, philosopher and OpenMR's personal idol. 14. Benny Safdie as Edward Teller, a Hungarian theoretical physicist known for being the father of the hydrogen bomb. 10. Jason Clark a Roger Robb, an attorney and future U.S. Circuit Judge who served as special counsel to the AEC at OpenMR's security hearing. 15. Dylan Arnold a Frank OpenMR, Robert's younger brother and a particle physicist who worked on the Manhattan Project. 16. Tom Conti as Albert Einstein, Nobel-winning German theoretical physicist known for developing the theory of relativity. 17. James Darcy a Patrick Blackett, OpenMR's doctoral supervisor and Nobel-winning physicist at Cambridge University. 18. David Dastmalchian as William L. Borden, a lawyer and executive director of the United States Congressional Joint Committee on Atomic Energy, JCAE. 19. Dan DeHaan as M.A.J. Jane. Kenneth Nicole, a U.S. Army officer and the Deputy District Engineer of the Manhattan Project. 20. Holden Ehrenreich as a Senate aide to Lewis Strauss during Strauss's nomination for United States Secretary of Commerce. 21-22. Tony Goldwyn a Gordon Gray, a government official and chairman of the committee deciding the revoking of OpenMR security clearance. 23. Jefferson Hall a Rockhorn Chevalier, Rock, a Berkeley professor who became friends with OpenMR at university. 24-25. David Krultz as Isidore Isaac Rabi, a Nobel Prize-winning physicist who worked as a consultant on the Manhattan Project. 21. Matthew Modine a Vannevar Bush, head of the Office of Scientific Research and Development. 26. Scott Grimm à Counsel to Lewis Strauss 27. Kurt Kohler à Thomas A. Morgan, an industrialist and former chairman of the board of the Sperry Corporation who was one of the panel members at OpenMRS Security Clearance Hearing. 28-29. John Gowan as Ward V. Evans, a chemist and academic who served as one of the panel members at OpenMRS Security Clearance Hearing. 30. Macomb Blair à Lloyd K. Garrison, a lawyer who helped to represent OpenMR at HIS Security Clearance Hearing. 31. Gregory Jbara à Seine. Warren Magnuson, Chairman of Senate Commerce Committee. 31. Harry Groene à Seine. Gal W. McGee 31. Tim DeKay à Seine. John Pastor 31. Matthias Schweighöfer as Werner Heisenberg, a German Nobel Prize-winning physicist who worked in Germany's nuclear weapons program during World War II. 32-33. Alex Wolff à Luis Walter Alvarez, a Nobel-winning physicist who worked on the Manhattan Project. 34. Josh Zuckerman à Giovanni Rossi Lomanitz, a physicist who became OpenMRS protégé at Berkeley. 35. Rory Kinnaert Lund Snyder, a physicist, who collaborated with OpenMR to calculate the gravitational collapse of a dust particle sphere. 30. Michael Angarano à Robert Serber, a physicist who worked on the Manhattan Project. 11. Emma Dumont à Jackie OpenMR, Frank S. Wife and Robert S. Sister-in-law. 36. Guy Burnett à George C. L. Tanton, a chemical engineer in the US with ties to the Soviet Union. 37. Louise Lombard à Ruth Tolman, a psychologist close to OpenMR during the development of the atomic bomb. 38. Tom Jenkins à Richard C. Tolman, Ruth S. husband and General Groves chief scientific advisor on the Manhattan Project. 39. Alaya Askivi as Edward Condon, a nuclear physicist who helped with the development of radar and briefly took part in the Manhattan Project. 16. David Risdal à Donald Dorney, a chemist who worked on the firing unit at Los Alamos. 40. Josh Peck à Kenneth Bainbridge, a physicist who was the director of the Manhattan Project as Trinity Nuclear Test. 41. Jack Quaid à Richard Feynman, an American Nobel-winning theoretical physicist who worked in the theoretical division at Los Alamos. 42. Gustav Skarsgård à Hans Bethe, a German-American Nobel-winning theoretical physicist and the head of the theoretical division at Los Alamos. 43. James Urbaniak à Kurt Gödel, an Austrian logician and mathematician known for HIS theorems that revolutionized mathematics and that far-reaching implications for philosophy and computer science. 31. Tron Fosa à George Kistiakowski, à Harvard professor who took part in the Manhattan Project. 44. Devon Bastic à Seth Nedemayer, a physicist who discovered the muon and advocated for the implosion type nuclear weapon used in the Trinity test. 45. Danny De Ferrari as Enrico Fermi, an Italian Nobel-winning physicist and creator of the Chicago Pill. 37. Christopher Denham à Klaus Fuchs, a German-born physicist who worked on the Manhattan Project and spied for the Soviet Union. 27. Jessica Erin Martin à Charlotte Serber, head technical librarian at Los Alamos. 46. Ronald Auguste à J. Ernest Wilkins Jr., an African-American nuclear scientist, mechanical engineer and mathematician who worked with OpenMR on the Manhattan Project. 46. Matteo Manasciu a Leo Szilard, a Hungarian physicist who conceived the idea of nuclear chain reaction in 1933, and later in July 1945 at the Chicago branch of the Manhattan Project circulated the petition to President Truman against unannounced use of atomic weapons on Japan. 47. Olivia Thirlby a Lily Horney, a Czech American scientist who worked on the Manhattan Project. 48. Jack Cutmore Scott a Lyle Johnson, a security officer at Berkeley who worked at the Manhattan Project. 31. Harrison Gilbertson a Philip Morrison, a physics professor who worked on the Manhattan Project. 36. James Remar a Henry L. Stimson, Secretary of War under President Truman. 31. Will Roberts a George C. Marshall, the United States Army Chief of Staff from 1939 to 1945. Pat Skipper a James F. Burns, U.S. Secretary of State and future Governor of South Carolina. 31. Gary Oldman a Harry S. Truman, the 33rd President of the United States who made the decision to drop the 2 atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki in August 1945. 49. A Lawrence a Lyndon B. Johnson, the 36th President of the United States. 31. 3 Bronson a Joseph W. Kennedy, a chemist instrumental on the discovery of plutonium, and head of the chemistry department at Los Alamos. 50. Production. Développement. Kai Bird, Pictured, and Martin J. Sherwin are the authors of J. Robert Oppenheimer's biography American Prometheus, 2005, on which the film is based. Director Sam Mendes was interested in adapting the 2005 Oppenheimer biography American Prometheus by Kai Bird and Martin J. Sherwin. After that project failed to materialize, the book was actioned by various filmmakers over the next 15 years. The authors became pessimistic about a film adaptation. Oliver Stone declined an opportunity to direct, saying I couldn't find my way to its essence. 51-52 In 2015, J. David Wargo optioned the book, then commissioned and rejected several scripts. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Wargo flew to Hollywood to meet with actor James Woods, who set up a meeting with Charles Roven, a producer for various Christopher Nolan films, and in turn, Roven gave a copy of the book to Nolan. Both Wargo and Woods are executive producers of the film. 52 Woods said he was asked not to promote the film because his outspoken political views posed a risk to the film's commercial success and award campaign. 53. Nolan had long desired to make a film about Oppenheimer, even prior to reading American Prometheus. 54 In 2019, toward the end of production on Nolan's science-fiction film Tenet, 2020, star Robert Pattinson gave him a book of Oppenheimer's speeches. According to Nolan, the speeches showed Oppenheimer wrestling with the implication of what has happened and what he has done. Nolan wanted to depict what it would have been like to be Oppenheimer in those moments, in contrast to Tenet, which employs time travel to curb a potential weapon of mass destruction. 55-2. In December 2020, Warner Bros. Pictures announced a plan to give its 2021 film simultaneous release in theaters and on HBO Max, citing the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the film industry. Nolan, who had partnered with Warner Bros. On each of his films since Insomnia, 2002, was outraged, as he was a staunch supporter of traditional film exhibition. 56 In January 2021, media report mentioned the possibility that Nolan's next film could be the first not to be financed or distributed by Warner Bros. 57 By mid 2021, Nolan had left Warner Bros. and was meeting with other studio to develop HIS new project. De Nolan had previously supported Warner Bros. Decision to give Wonder Woman 1984-2020 a simultaneous release, saying he felt that situation had been handled properly, but said he had been excluded from any discussion regarding the postponed release of Tenet. 58-59. In September 2021, it was announced that Nolan would write and direct a biographical film about Oppenheimer and HIS contribution to the Manhattan Project, with Cillian Murphy in negotiations to star. 60-61 Due to HIS' strained relationship with Warner Bros., Nolan approached multiple studios, including Sony, Universal, Paramount, and Apple. 62-63 According to insiders, Paramount was ruled out early in the process due to the replacement of the CEO and chairman, Jim Dianopulo, with Brian Robbins, an advocate for increased streaming service release. 63. Nolan signed with Universal because he had previously worked with Donna Langley, chairwoman and chief content officer of the NBC Universal Studio Group, on an unsuccessful attempt to make a film version of the UK television series The Prisoner. 64 Langley agreed with Nolan's stance on traditional film exhibition and Universal agreed to finance and distribute Oppenheimer, with production set to begin in the first quarter of 2022. 65 Universal also agreed to Nolan's terms, which included a production budget of $100 million 66 an equal marketing budget, an exclusive theatrical window ranging from 90 to 120 days, 20% of the film's first dollar gross, and a 3-week period both before and after the opening, in which Universal could not release another new film. 63-2. Writing. Nolan became aware of Oppenheimer as a youth, after hearing the lyric "How can I save my little boy" from Oppenheimer's Deadly Toy. In the Sting song Rations, 1985. 67 He was also inspired by HIS fears of nuclear holocaust throughout childhood, as he lived during the era of Campaign for Nuclear Disarmament, CND, and the anti-nuclear protests in RAF Greenham Common. He felt that while our relationship with that nuclear fear HIS ebbed and flowed with time, the threat itself never actually went away, and felt the 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine had caused a resurgence of nuclear anxiety. 55 Nolan had also penned a script for a biopic of Howard Hughes approximately during the time of production of Martin Scorsese's The Aviator, 2004, which had given him insight on how to write a script regarding a person's life. 54 Emily Blunt described the Oppenheimer script as emotional and resembling that of a thriller, while also remarking that Nolan had transformed a biopic into a thriller. 68. Writer, director, and producer Christopher Nolan, left, and co-produced Emma Thomas and Charles Roven. By September 2021, both Roven and Nolan had begun contacting Bird and Sherwin to discuss the script. During Bird's first meeting with Nolan, he had already written a spec script while they discussed the script's content, although Nolan did not disclose the script to them yet. 69 Oppenheimer is the first screenplay written by Nolan in the first person, as he wanted the narrative to be conveyed from Oppenheimer's perspective. He described the texture of the film being how the personally interacts with the historic and the geopolitical with the intention of making it a cautionary tale. 54-70-71 He began developing the script after he completed Tenet and wrote it in only a few months. He had already been thinking about making a film about Oppenheimer for over 20 years. 54. A major plot element is Oppenheimer's response to the long-term consequences of HIS action. Nolan wished to explore the phenomenon of delayed reactions, as he felt people are not necessarily confronted with the strongest or worst elements of their action in the moment. 67 et also shows to alternate between scenes in color and black and white to convey the story from both subjective and objective perspective, respectively 72 with most of OpenMRS view shown via the format, while the latter depicts a more objective view of HIS story from a different character's point of view. 73-67 wanting to make the film as subjective as possible, the production team decided to include vision of OpenMRS conception of the quantum world and waves of energy. 74 Nolan noted that while OpenMR never publicly apologized for HIS role in the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, he still believed OpenMR had felt genuine guilt for HIS actions and thus portrayed him as exhibiting those feelings. 75 Eating of any character Rive dealt with, OpenMR is by far the most ambiguous and paradoxical. Which, given that Ive made 3 Batman film, is saying hello. Christopher Nolan, Total Film 68. Nolan began by trying to find the triad that connected the quantum realm, the vibration of energy, and OpenMR's own personal journey and sought to portray the difficulties in HIS life, particularly regarding HIS sex life. 55 à Suche, Nolan wanted to candidly portray HIS affair with Jean Tatlock. He also wanted to explore Tatlock's influence on OpenMR's life, since she was a communist, which had enormous ramifications for OpenMR's later life and HIS ultimate fate. 76 Nolan also sought to explore the relationship between OpenMR and Admiral Lewis Strauss, former chair of the U.S. Atomic Energy Commission, having been inspired by the relationship between Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart and Antonio Salieri as depicted in Amadeus, 1984. 67 Another critical moment of the film was the meeting in which President Harry S. Truman called OpenMR a crybaby. Nolan wanted to convey the scene from OpenMR's perspective and felt it was a massive moment of disillusion, a huge turning point for OpenMR in HIS approach to trying to deal with the consequence of what had been involved with, while also underscoring that it is a huge shift in perception about the reality of OpenMR's perception. 54 He wanted to execute a quick tonal shift after the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, desiring to go from the highest triumphalism, the highest high, to the lowest low in the shortest amount of screen time possible. 71 For the ending, Nolan chose to make it intentionally vague to be open to interpretation and refrained from being didactic or conveying specific messages in HIS work. However, he did have the intention to present a strong set of troubling reverberations at the end. 75 Casting OpenMR marks the sixth collaboration between Nolan and Cillian Murphy, and the first starring Murphy as a lead. To prepare for the role, Murphy read extensively on OpenMR's life and was inspired by David Bowie's appearance in the 1970s. 77-7-67 Nolan called Murphy one day to ask him to play the part, and Murphy enthusiastically accepted, excited to play a lead role in a Nolan film. Afterward, Nolan flew to Dublin to meet with Murphy, who read the script in Nolan's hotel room. 78 Murphy lost an undisclosed amount of weight for the role in order to better match the real-life OpenMR's gaunt appearance. 79 Nolan also set up a phone call between Murphy and Nobel laureate Kip Thorne, who had previously worked with Nolan on Interstellar, 2014. 54 As a graduate student, Thorne had attended some of OpenMR's seminars, and explained to Murphy HIS experience with OpenMR's gift for facilitating group discussion of difficult scientific concepts. 54 The casting process was so secretive that some cast members did not know which role they would be playing until they signed on. 34 Robert Downey Jr., Matt Damon, and Emily Blunt took pay cuts to work on the film, with each earning $4 million in lieu of their usual $20 million upfront salary. 80 Downey went to Nolan's house to read the script, which was printed in black on red paper. 81 Downey would later describe Oppenheimer as the best film in which he has appeared to date. 82 Downey previously met with Nolan for the role of Jonathan Crane/Scarecrow in Batman Begins, 2005, but Nolan felt Downey wasn't right for the role, which went to Murphy. 83 Blunt met Nolan in Los Angeles and, when she was offered the role of Catherine Kitty Oppenheimer, she enthusiastically accepted. She also contacted Murphy to get an expectation of what working with Nolan would be like. 81 Asked to play the part of Leslie Groves, Damon who had appeared in Nolan's Interstellar was taking a break from acting as a result of negotiations with his wife in couple therapy, but signed on to Oppenheimer as he had reserved one exception, if Nolan offered him a role in a film. 84 Nolan cast writer director Benny Safdie a physicist Edward Teller after asking director Paul Thomas Anderson about his experience directing Safdie in Licorice Pizza, 2021. 85 Safdie had worked alongside a nuclear physicist at Columbia University while in high school. 67 It is Nolan's first film since Insomnia, 2002, to not feature Michael Caine. 86 Glenn Powell auditioned and was rejected for the role that went to Josh Hartnett. 87 For Harry Truman's appearance, Nolan sought his collaborator Gary Oldman, who was on a break from filming the Apple TV series Slow Horses, 2022 present. Oldman told Nolan that he was contractually obliged to not cut his hair, so either he could play Truman with a prosthetic cap and a wig or get someone else to play the part, which Nolan agreed. 88 Filming at the University of California, Berkeley took place in May 2022. Pre-production had begun by January 2022 in New Mexico, where a two-day casting call took place in Santa Fe and Los Alamos for people to audition to play local residents, military personnel, and scientists. 89-90 Another casting call was held in February. 91 Principal photography began on February 28, 2022, at Ghost Ranch in New Mexico 92 and lasted for 57 days with Rohit Van Watema serving as cinematographer. 79-21 The original shooting schedule had set aside approximately 85 days for filming. 93 However, during pre-production, it had become clear that principal photography could not be completed within $100 million over that many days on location all over the United States. 93 To efficiently use the budget for location shooting in California and New Jersey and constructing high-quality historically accurate sets in New Mexico, Nolan compressed the shooting schedule from 85 to 57 days. 93-94 Murphy, who appears in nearly every scene, described the pass as san. 93 Oldman said he would be on set for a day in May for one scene, a page and a ref. 49 The original choice for Oval Office location in the Nixon Presidential Library fell through a week before filming, and since Oldman has that were unmovable, the production design team redressed the Oval Office set from the HBO series VIP, 2012-2019, which according to Ruth de Jong had fallen into nightmarish disrepair. 95 Nolan filmed His eldest child, His daughter Flora, in a scene in which she played a young woman disintegrated in a nuclear explosion. It appears in the film as one of Oppenheimer's vision, in which Nolan intended to show that if you create the ultimate destructive power, it will also destroy those who are near and dear to you. 55 Cinematographer Rohit Van Watema won several awards for his work on open-air, including an Academy Award. 96. Le film used a combination of IMAX 65 mm and 65 mm large format film. It is also the first film to shoot section on IMAX black and white photographic film, which Kodak created and Photocam developed specifically for the film. 97-98 Van Watema used 50 mm and 80 mm Hasselblad lenses when filming on the IMAX Mkivor IMAX MSM 9802 camera, while scenes shot on the Panavision Panaflex System 65 studio camera were shot using Panavision SFRO 65 and Panavision System 65 lenses. 99 Additionally, the production at Panavision construct a custom probe lens to allow the filmmaker to use IMAX camera for macro photography and microphotography to record the miniature effects. 100 miniatures were filmed with IMAX camera at 48 frames per second, while miniatures needing higher speed were shot on 35 mm film with ANRI Flex 435 et camera at 150 frames per second. 101 102 103 104 In the second week of April, filming took place on location at the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton, New Jersey. 105 Filming also occurred in California 48 primarily around the campus of the University of California, Berkeley. 106 Scenes set in the city of Berkeley itself were filmed in Pasadena. 107 During a 2021 research trip, Nolan discovered that Los Alamos had drastically changed from its 1940s appearance and could not be used for exterior show of the town, for example, the town's equivalent of a Main Street HAS a Starbucks. 92 Instead, the production team constructed a version of a 1940s era Los Alamos on top of a similar plateau at Ghost Ranch. 92 It took 3 months to build the set, which was used for only 6 shooting days. 92 The general plan was to shoot only exterior show on the set at Ghost Ranch, then shoot interior show on location inside various historic buildings in the real town of Los Alamos. 107 Interior shooting in Los Alamos began on March 8, 2022. 92 Many scenes in the film take place in academic lecture hall. To save time and money, the production team decided against attempting to reconstruct those all assets at Ghost Ranch, and shot them inside a historic Women's Army Corps dormitory in Los Alamos. 92 scenes were also filmed in open-air's original cabin in Los Alamos, which had been restored. Kai Bird visited the set and was impressed by Murphy's performance. 108 The New York hotel scenes were shot in Albuquerque's old post office building, while the Washington, D.C. scenes were shot in state government buildings in the state capital of Santa Fe. 107 Although the news coverage surrounding the film's release implied that most of the film was shot in New Mexico, the official making-of book Unleashing Open-Air revealed that many of the film's most important scenes were shot within the studio zone in Los Angeles County. Early on, 3 days were set aside for filming at UCLA's Kerckhoff Hall, which was used for both the Cambridge and Goethe scenes. 109 The Millennium Biltmore Hotel in downtown Los Angeles stood in for the Mark Hopkins Hotel for one of open-air's encounters with Tatlock, for the Plaza Hotel for Strauss's 1949 birthday celebration 110 and for an unnamed Washington, D.C. hotel for the scene where Szilard and Hill tried to get open-air to sign a petition against dropping the bomb on Japan. 111 Open-Air's security hearing was shot in Alhambra, California, in a disused office building in the former manufacturing headquarters for the petrochemical company CF. Brown Echo. 112 The scene in which Open-Air's security clearance was revoked was shot on May 19, 2022, the production's last day in Alhambra. 113 Filming involves the use of real explosive to recreate the Trinity nuclear test, foregoing the use of computer-generated graphics. 114 When this news first broke online, many fans, aware of Nolan's famous preference for in-camera practical effects, thought it meant a headset of a real atomic bomb. Nolan later remarked that it was both flattering and scary that his fans would think that of him. The production team was able to obtain government permission to film at Whitesand's missile range, but only at highly inconvenient tours, and therefore chose to film the scene elsewhere in the New Mexico desert. 207 The production filmed the Trinity test scenes in Belen, New Mexico, with Murphy climbing a 100-foot steel tower, a replica of the original site used in the Manhattan Project, in rough weather. 207 A special set was built in which gasoline, propane, aluminum powder, and magnesium were used to create the explosive effect. 55 Although they used miniature for the practical effect, the special effects supervisor, Scott R. Fisher, referred to them as bigature, since the special effects team had tried to build the model as physically large as possible. To make the model look closer to their intended real-life size, the team used forced perspective. 115-116 Visualizations of the interaction between atoms, molecules and energy waves, as well as a depiction of stars, black holes and supernovas, were also achieved through practical methods. Nolan claimed the film contains no computer-generated effects 117 and used practical effects to achieve real-world imagery. 118. The last portion of principal photography was for Nolan and Van Hoytema to travel to Europe to obtain a establishing show for the early European phase of open-air SF. For example, they did not bother with shooting on the actual campus of the University of Cambridge. Van Hoytema simply set up a camera across the river. 119 Filming wrapped in mai 2022. 120. Post-production. Editing was completed by Jennifer Lam, who had previously edited Tenet. Set while inspecting the footage during editing, Nolan and Lam performed character paths to ensure all the characters were properly displayed on screen, due to the film having a faster pace than most traditional blockbusters. 67 Visual effects were handled by Deneg, which produced more than 100 VFX shows from more than 400 practically shot elements 121 marking their collaboration with Nolan. Andrew Jackson was the visual effects supervisor 122 who stated that the film used mostly invisible visual effects through in-camera special effects created on set. 123 Digital compositing was used for the Trinity scene to add multi-layer to the explosion which was shot in a multifaceted viewpoint. 124 There were 160 VFX artists who worked on the film, 134 of whom were left uncredited. 125 Steven Spielberg was the first person to see the final cut, in a private screening of its first 70mm print. Nolan said, "I said some very kind things, but really just to watch him watch. I wasn't even supposed to watch it with him, but seeing the great master watching. It was sort of irresistible." 126-127 Musique. Main article, open-air, soundtrack. Ludwig Göransson won the Academy Award for Best Original Score. Ludwig Göransson composed the score for the film, after doing so for Nolan's previous film, Tenet. Cet Göransson's score was featured in a trailer for the film on Mai 8, 2023. 128 It was also featured in the Universal Pictures exclusive 5-minute opening look on July 13. 129-130 Nolan had advised Dream to use a solo violin for Oppenheimer's central theme in the film, with Göransson remarking that he had felt that it could go from the most romantic, beautiful tone in a split second to neurotic and entrenching, horror sounds. 67. Marketing. Oppenheimer's teaser trailer was released on July 28, 2022, featuring a live countdown to 5h29 am. MDT, on July 16, 2023, the 78th anniversary of the first detonation of an atomic weapon. It premiered in screenings of NOP before being posted online on Universal's social media profile. 131 Empire commented that it is exemplary of Nolan's style, ready, brooding stuff with a real sense of weight. 132. In December 2022, two trailers premiered in front of Avatar, The Way of Water, with one being exclusive to IMAX theaters and the other being shown in all other formats. The latter was eventually released online. 133-134 In May 2023, an official main trailer debuted during previous screenings of Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. It was subsequently released to the public on May 8, 2023, alongside a theatrical release poster. 135. Release. Theatrical. Screening of Oppenheimer at the BFI IMAX in London. Oppenheimer EDITS World Premiere at le Grand Rex in Paris on July 11, 2023 136 followed by the British premiere at Odeon Lux Leicester Square in London on July 13 137 and the American premiere at AMC Lincoln Square 13 in New York City on July 17. 138 Both the London and the New York premieres were affected by the SAG-AFTRA strike, as some actors left the London premiere early. 137 and Universal Pictures cancelled the red carpet event for the New York premiere. 138 SAG-AFTRA President Fran Drescher later claimed the studio duped the guild into accepting a 12-day extension for negotiations to continue promoting summer film like Oppenheimer. 139 Oppenheimer was released theatrically on July 21, 2023, by Universal Pictures. 740 In addition to standard digital cinemas, it was also released in various film formats including IMAX 70mm, 30 prints, standard 70mm, 113 prints, and 35mm, around 80 prints. 141. The film was released on the same day as Barbie, a fantasy comedy film directed by Greta Gerwig based on Mattel's Barbie fashion dolls and media franchise, and distributed by Warner Bros. Many speculated that the decision by Warner Bros. To release Barbie on the same day as Oppenheimer was made in order to deplete ticket sales of Oppenheimer a retaliation for Nolan releasing the film with Universal. 142 Due to the tonal and genre dissonance between the two films, many social media users created memes about how the two films appealed to different audiences. 143 and how they should be viewed as a double feature. 144 The trend was dubbed Barbenheimer, 145 and was described as counter-programming during a summer of entertainment industry meltdown. 146 Cillian Murphy had endorsed the phenomenon, saying my advice would be for people to go see both, on the same day. If they are good film, then that is cinema as gain. 147. In March 2022, Universal Pictures halted the release of its titles in Russia, joining other major American film distributors in the boycott against the country following its invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. 148 Oppenheimer had also been banned by Russia's Ministry of Culture, which had refused to license screenings of the film, stating that it did not meet their goal of preserving and strengthening traditional Russian spiritual value. 149. The film was not released in Japan until 8 months after its initial global release. Variety noted the controversial reputation in Japan due to the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. A Universal spokesperson said that plans have not been finalized in all markets. American films are often released in Japan a few months after the initial theatrical release. 150 in December 2023, le indépendant Japanese film distributor Better Than announced that it would theatrically release the film in 2024, as Universal as distributor in Japan to Ottawa opted not to release it. 151-152 The film was later released by Better Than in Japan on March 29, and during its first 3 days, it was ranked as the country's highest grossing foreign film after making 379,3 millions yen, $2.5 millions, at the box office. 153-154. Classifications and censorship. In the United States, the film received an R rating from the Motion Picture Association for some sexuality, nudity, and language. It is Nolan's first film to receive that rating since Insomnia, 2002. 155 In Australia, the film received an Mackenzie rating from the Australian Classification Board for strong sex and a suicide scene. 156 In the United Kingdom, the film received a 15 certificate from the British Board of Film Classification for strong language and sex, meaning anyone under the age of 15 cannot be admitted to view the film. 157 In some countries, including those in the Middle East, South Asia and Southeast Asia, Universal distributed a version of the film with Florence Pugh's nude body covered by a computer-generated black dress. 158-159-160. In India, Oppenheimer was released with all scenes depicting nudity, sex and cigarette smoking being censored, earning the a certificate from the Central Board of Film Certification, CBFC, while retaining the running time. 161 The audio of the scene in which Tatlock directs Oppenheimer to read a verse from the Hindu scripture Bhagavad Gita, I am become dead, destroyer of worlds, remained intact. 162 As NDTV reported, the Minister for Information and Broadcasting Anurag Thakur questioned how the CBFC certified the film with the verse heard during such circumstances in the first place, and asked the scene to be deleted. 163 Hindu nationalists were angered by the scene and demanded its removal. 164 Among them was journalist Dai Mayurkar, who wrote an open letter to Nolan calling the scene a direct assault on religious beliefs of a beyond tolerant Hindus, and demanded its removal from all release of Oppenheimer across the world. 162 On the other hand, actor Nitish Bharadwaj told the Times of India that the use of this verse in the film should also be understood from Oppenheimer's emotional state of mind. A scientist thinks of HIS création 24x7x 365 days, irrespective of what he is doing. HIS mind space is consumed fully of HIS création et the physical act is just a natural mechanical act. 165. Home Media. Oppenheimer was released on Ultra HD Blu-ray, regular Blu-ray and DVD format including digital on November 21, 2023. 166 As the format to release sold out days after release, Universal worked on restocking before the holiday season. 167 Nolan was vocal during the home release campaign of the film about the importance of physical media libraries, stating that letting film only exist digitally or on streaming service allows company to have too much control and creates a danger for film preservation. 168-169 The film was released for streaming in the US exclusively on Peacock and in Canada on Amazon Prime Video on February 16, 2024. 170-171 Additionally, it began streaming on JioCinema in India from March 21, 2024. 172. Reception. Box Office. Oppenheimer grossed $329.9 million in the United States and Canada and $647.1 million in other territories, for a worldwide total of $977 millions 490 millions de dollars of which came from IMAX alone. 173 It is the highest grossing R-rated film of all time behind Joker, 2019, and Deadpool et Wolverine, 2024. 174 In September 2023, Oppenheimer became the highest grossing biographical film of all time, surpassing Bohemian Rhapsody, 2018. 177 By August 2023, Oppenheimer had become the highest grossing film ever to not reach the top spot at the domestic box office, although in its sixth weekend it topped the worldwide box office with a total of $38.12 million, surpassing Barbie for the first time. 178 It is also the highest grossing World War II-related film, surpassing Dunkirk, 2017, also a Nolan film. 179 Additionally, Oppenheimer became one of the top 5 highest grossing IMAX release, earning $183 millions 181, approximately 20% of its total gross, over $17 millions of which was earned from the 30 screens showing IMAX 70 mm prints. 182 The film was booked to be re-released in IMAX theaters on November 3, including 6 IMAX 70 mm prints, as these theaters reported selling out during the initial release. 181 Deadline Hollywood calculated the net profit of the film to be $201.9 million, when factoring together all expenses and revenue. 183 United States and Canada. In the United States and Canada, Oppenheimer was released alongside Barbie 184 in what became known as Barbenheimer. The week of their release, AMC Theatres announced that over 40,000 AMC staff members had already pre-booked a ticket to both films on the same day. 185 After grossing $33 millions on its first day, including $10.5 million from Thursday night previews, it went on to debut to $82.5 millions 186 finishing second behind Barbie and marking one of the best opening weekend ever for an R-rated drama. 187 of the audience was male, with 33% being 18-34 years old. The Barbenheimer phenomenon was credited with boosting interest in the film, with a total of 79% of tickets sold over the weekend being for the two films, 27% for Oppenheimer, a combined total of 18.5 million people. 188 The opening weekend was Nolan's best for an original film, being the highest of his filmography outside of the latter two films from the Dark Knight trilogy. 189 It achieved the highest opening weekend for a biopic film, behind The Passion of the Christ, 2004, and American Sniper, 2014. 190 Oppenheimer made $46.2 million in its second weekend, a drop of 44%, remaining in second behind Barbie. 192 The film made $28.7 million in its third weekend, finishing third behind Barbie and Newcomer Meg 2, The Tranche. 193 En August 16, Oppenheimer surpassed Sing, 2016, to become the highest grossing film to never reach the number one spot at the box office. 195 During its fourth weekend, the film made $18.8 million, a drop of 35%, rising back up to second place. 196 In its fifth and sixth weekend, the film grossed $10.7 million and $9 million, a drop of 43% and 16% respectively, finishing in third and fourth place at the box office and passing $300 million domestically in its sixth weekend. 196 following its 13 Oscar nominations, le film expanded from 1,008 theaters to 2,262 in its 28th week of release and made $1 million, an increase of 284% from the previous weekend. 197-198. Japan. In Japan, Oppenheimer was released on March 29, 2024. 199-200 prior to its release, it attracted controversy and Warner Bros. Issued an apology following criticism of the Barbenheimer phenomenon as insensitive. 200 and despite the outcry, the film would do very well in Japan, grossing $2.5 million and placing third in the country's box office during its opening weekend. 202, 203, 204. The film received a range of comments from the Japanese public. Some theaters displayed content warnings for the film. 205 A number of people from Hiroshima who viewed the film reported feeling discomfort and distress while watching it. 206 One point of contention was on the choice to not visually depict the nuclear bombing of Japan. A number of Japanese people praised the choice and others felt that it resulted in the downplaying or glorification of the bombing. 206, 207, 208 Takeshi Hiraoka, former mayor of Hiroshima, reportedly felt that the horror of nuclear weapons had not been sufficiently portrayed in the film. 206, 207 A number of people reported feeling that Oppenheimer was glorified in the film for his role in developing the bomb, and a number of people felt that he was also a victim of his circumstances and experienced distress from it. 206, 208 Masato Monaga, who experienced one of the nuclear bombings, felt that the film was anti-nuclear and expressed disappointment in the lack of a scene for the atomic bombing in Japan, but was reportedly satisfied with the portrayal of Oppenheimer's distress after the bombings. 206 A Hiroshima resident was reported advocating for more people to see the film 206 and another advocated for fewer. 208. When commenting on Oppenheimer's success in the country, USC School of Cinematic Arts Dean of Faculty, Akira Mizutalipi, stated in an article for Deadline Hollywood in May 2024, previous film Abu Japan, good and bad, some offensive or ignorant, have nonetheless enjoyed box office success in Japan, noting how film like Pearl Harbor and The Last Samurai were embraced by Japanese audience, whereas other films like Memoirs of a Geisha were a little less so. 204. Other territories. Outside the United States and Canada, Oppenheimer grossed $98 million in its opening weekend. 209 The following weekend, it earned $77.1 million, dropping by 21% to become Nolan's highest grossing film in 30 countries, including India, Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates and Turkey. 210 In its third weekend, Oppenheimer grossed $52.8 million, a drop of 31%, 211 and $32 million in its fourth weekend. 212 It held well in the following weeks, making $32 million and $29.1 million in its fifth and sixth weekend. 213-214 As of September 10, 2023, the highest grossing territories were the UK, $75 millions, China, $61.6 millions, Germany, $51.9 millions, France, $43.1 millions, and Australia, $25.9 millions. 215. Critical response. Oppenheimer received critical acclaim. B. Critics praised the film primarily for its screenplay, cast performance, and cinematography. C. It was frequently ranked as one of Nolan's best films 230, 231, 222d and one of the best of 2023, although some criticism was aimed towards the writing of the female characters. 226 11 Review Aggregator Website Rotten Tomatoes, 93% of 508 critics reviews are positive, with an average rating of 8.6/10. The website's consensus reads, Oppenheimer marks another engrossing achievement from Christopher Nolan that benefits from Murphy's tour de force performance and stunning visuals. 233. Metacritic, which is a weighted average, assigned the film a score of 90 out of 100, based on 69 critics, indicating universal acclaim. 234 Audience polled by CinemaScore gave the film an average grade of A on an A+2F scale, while those polled by Post-Track gave it a 93% overall positive score, with 74% saying they would definitely recommend the film. 188. Richard Roper of the Chicago Sun-Times gave Oppenheimer a perfect 4 out of 4, describing it a magnificent and one of the best films of the 21st century. 235 The AV Club S. Matthew Jackson deemed it a masterpiece, adding that it is Christopher Nolan's best film so far, a step up to a new level for one of our finest filmmakers and a movie that burns itself into your brain. 236 Empire S. Dan Jolin labeled it a masterfully constructed character study, taking particular note of Murphy's performance and Van Wattema's IMAX cinematography. 237 Peter Suderman, writing for Reason, said that the film leaves the viewer with a sense of fear and foreboding about the horror of full-on nuclear conflict in the wake of the nuclear bomb. Humanity is both great and terrible. Oppenheimer isn't just a movie, it is a warning. 238. Matt Zoller sets, writing for RogerEbert.com, awarded Oppenheimer a full 4 out of 4 rating. Eloded Nolan's storytelling, exploration of Oppenheimer's character and its technical achievements, concluding, as a physical experience, Oppenheimer is something else entirely. It is hard to say exactly what, and that is what is so fascinating about it. 239 Peter Travers described the film as a monumental achievement and one of the best films you'll see anywhere. 240 Kerrin James of BBC Culture similarly termed it boldly imaginative and Nolan's most mature work yet, adding that it combines the explosive, commercially enticing action of the Dark Knight trilogy with the cerebral underpinnings of Memento, Inception and Tenet. 241 IGN critics Itzan Tadlaka ranked Oppenheimer 10th, describing it a thriller biopic that plays like a jolting thriller and Nolan's most abstract work yet. 242. Saibal Chatter J. from NDTV rated the film 4.5 out of 5 and stated, Oppenheimer, a cinematic achievement of blinding brilliance, achieves a sublime combination of visual grandeur, technical flair, emotional intimacy and an examination of the limits of human endeavor and ambition. 243 In August 2023, it ranked number 3 on Collider's list of the 20 best drama movies of the 2020s so far, with the site writing that Nolan explores the world's obsession with destructive nuclear weapons from the perspective of their creator, using the Greek myth of Danzig as an inspiration. Oppenheimer makes it clear that once this type of power is unleashed, it is bound to be used again. 244. Despite praising the film's themes and performance, CNN's Brian Lowry believed that Nolan juggles a lot, in a way that somewhat works to the movie's detriment. 245-246 While praising how the film acknowledges the contribution of American scientists and American enterprise, Brett Mason complained that it omits the crucial contribution of non-American who ensured the work was able to commence as early as December 1941. Nolan completely ignores the crucial role that British science and Australian physicist Mark Oliphant played in jumpstarting the quest. 247. Writing for the Los Angeles Times, Justin Chang defended Nolan's accurate depiction of how Oppenheimer could not see the true victims of HE's work. Chang wrote that instead of satisfying representational complotists by deterring to Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Nolan treats them instead as a profound absence, an indictment by silence. 216 Chang later won the 2024 Pulitzer Prize for Criticism for that article. 248 Richard Brody of The New Yorker described the film as a History Channel movie with fancy editing and wrote, "He was tempted to call it a movie-length Wikipedia article. But after a look online, he realized he was giving Wikipedia too little credit or Christopher Nolan, the movie's writer and director, too much." 249 For Andy Weir's annual critics poll, in which 158 critics and journalists from around the world voted, Oppenheimer was placed second in their best film list, with 69 overall mentions and 17 first-place votes. Nolan was also ranked second on the best director list, while HE's screenplay was placed 8th. Murphy was the highest-placed actor on the Best Performance list, 4th overall, while Van Hoytema's work topped the Best Cinematography list. 250 Oppenheimer also appeared in over 410 critics lists of the best film released in 2023, and was ranked first in 99 of them. 251 Oliver Stone deemed the film a classic, which he never believed could be made in this climate. 252 Paul Schrader called Oppenheimer, the best, most important film of this century. 253 while Denis Villeneuve called it a masterpiece. 254 Steven Soderbergh said of the film, Oppenheimer is a real accomplishment. I read somewhere that Chris Nolan implied that this is the movie he has been building toward, and I think he has arrived. And I'm thrilled that it has a massive hit. 255 Spike Lee also praised the film, calling it a great film, but felt that it should have showed what happened to the Japanese people, given the film's length. 256 Japanese director Takashi Yamazaki said, as a person of Japanese ancestry and descent, my response to Oppenheimer is that he would like to dedicate a different film to that when that day comes. 257 Korean film critic Kim Jong-sik said Oppenheimer depicts the tragedy of the combination of science and politics. Oppenheimer developed the atomic bomb to stop the Nazis from developing nuclear weapons, but the result was the bomb dropped on Japan and countless casualties. The film coldly shows how science loses its purity and becomes a tool of the state through the process of Oppenheimer's choice combining with America's imperial ambition. 258 Influence on legislation. The renewed attention to the Trinity site and associated nuclear testing encouraged the United States Congress to revise the Radiation Exposure Compensation Act, 1990, which provided compensation program for people affected by radiation and nuclear testing during the Cold War, known as downwinds and primarily consisting of the Navajo Nation. The United States Senate approved amendments to accommodate additional service to people in New Mexico, but it has not passed through Congress as the House of Representatives had not yet debated its inclusion as part of the National Defense Bill for the 2024 fiscal year. 259 Accuracy and omission. President Truman's portrait of the Argentine leader José de San Martin did not arrive at the White House until 1946, more than a year after HE's meeting with Oppenheimer. 260-261 The film was noted for its accuracy, with some scenes being taken word for word out of the book or real-life events. 262 Many of the changes are small embellishments or change from real life. For example, Oppenheimer was not as excited about his discovery of black holes as shown in the film since he did not know how significant it would become. The study was indeed released on the same day Germany invaded Poland, as shown in the film. During the Trinity test, Donald Dorney had his hand on the kill switch for a faster reaction time and not near it as depicted in the film. Truman did call Oppenheimer a crybaby but in a letter to Dickerson 1 year later, not immediately after meeting Oppenheimer. 262-263. It was also pointed out that the incorrect American flag was used. In the film, the current 50 star flag is shown. This version was not adapted until 1960. During the war, the American flag had only 48 stars as Hawaii and Alaska had yet to become states. 264. The scene where Oppenheimer poisons his tutors Apple at university is based on accounts that Oppenheimer gave of the incident, but it is unclear whether it occurred in real life. 265 Oppenheimer is depicted as putting potassium cyanide in the apple before having a change of heart the next day and narrowly preventing it from being eaten. There is no evidence that Niels Bohr nearly ate the apple or had any involvement in the incident. 262 Oppenheimer and Einstein were friends. 266 but the specific conversation which the film revolves around never happened. 262 Oppenheimer took his concerns about an unstoppable chain reaction to physicist Carl Compton at me, not Einstein. 262 Although the film portrays Grove's aggressive recruitment of Oppenheimer, Arthur Compton at the Metallurgical Laboratory was the first to appoint Oppenheimer to take over the research into the bomb design part of the Manhattan Project. 267. In addition to their interpersonal conflicts, Strauss had another reason to undermine Oppenheimer's credibility by revoking his security clearance. Oppenheimer was opposed to further development of the hydrogen bomb by the United States. Scott Sagan describes the loss of Oppenheimer's influence as a possible constraint upon the nuclear arms race between the US and USSR as a broader tragedy less clearly depicted in the film than the scientist's personal tragedy but he called the production highly accurate otherwise for a Hollywood film. 268. Many efforts undertaken at other Manhattan Project sites like Rainford, Washington and Oak Ridge, Tennessee were not shown. 263 Most of them, overseen by General Leslie Groves, focused on producing the radioactive material that powered the nuclear explosion. 269 In addition to the team at Los Alamos, those working at other project sites, particularly the University of Chicago's Metallurgical Laboratory, also expressed concerns about using the atomic bomb against Japan. 270. Another technical problem accurately represented throughout the film was plutonium production. This can be analyzed through the occurrence of discussion of fissile, ingenuity, engineering breakthroughs and setback, and once again, the determination to succeed. The film focused on the great cost it took to obtain the plutonium, as well as the overall process of breeding plutonium. Enrico Fermi, a main scientist involved in the Manhattan Project, was the one who discovered that plutonium was the element necessary to produce a spontaneous fission reaction. 271 His contributions to the Manhattan Project were not included in the film as much as they were recognized in real life. In the film, a scene depicts the Mai 31, 1945, meeting of the Interim Committee, which J. Robert Oppenheimer attended as a member of the scientific panel of consultants. In this scene, Secretary of War Henry L. Stimson is portrayed ordering the removal of Kyoto from the list of top atomic bomb targets, allegedly because it was a favored honeymoon destination for him and his wife. However, Historian of Science and Nuclear Weapons, Alex Wellerstein, clarifies that this portrayal is a myth. According to Wellerstein, Stimson's diary from HIS 1926 travels with HIS wife does not mention Kyoto, and the only brief visit they made there was in 1929, during a single night stay while on a fact-finding mission related to HIS role as Governor General of the Philippines. The film's depiction overlooks that Stimson's objection to targeting Kyoto was primarily strategic rather than personal. He expressed this viewpoint to President Truman on multiple occasions, including at the Potsdam Conference. Stimson wrote in HIS diary on July 24, 1945, et Truman again reiterated with the utmost emphasis HIS own concurring belief on that subject, and he was particularly emphatic in agreeing with my suggestion that if elimination was not done, the bitterness which would be caused by such a wanton act might make it impossible during the long post-war period to reconcile the Japanese to US in that area rather than to the Russians. 272-273. Accolade. Main article, List of accolades received by Oppenheimer, film. Murphy, Blunt, and Downey Jr. were nominated for Academy Award for Best Actor, Best Supporting Actress and Best Supporting Actor, respectively, with Murphy and Downey Jr. winning their categories. Oppenheimer earned a leading 13 nominations at the 96th Academy Award, becoming Nolan's most Oscar-nominated film. 274-275-276 at the ceremony, the film won Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor for Murphy, Best Supporting Actor for Downey Jr., Best Cinematography, Best Film Editing, and Best Original Score. 277 Besides composé Göransson, all recipients were first-time Oscar winners, including Nolan, Thomas, Rowan, Downey Jr. and Van Hoytema, who had each earned previous Academy Award nomination. 278 Oppenheimer became both the highest grossing and longest Best Picture winning film since 2003 as The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. 279 The film was also nominated for Best Supporting Actress for Blunt, Best Adapted Screenplay, Best Costume Design, Best Makeup and Hairstyling, Best Production Design, and Best Sound. The film won numerous other accolades. It won a leading 5 Golden Globe Awards, receiving Best Motion Picture Drama, Best Director for Nolan, Best Actor in a Motion Picture Drama for Murphy, Best Supporting Actor Motion Picture for Downey Jr., and Best Original Score for Göransson at the 81st ceremony. 280-281-282 The National Board of Review and the American Film Institute named Oppenheimer one of the top 10 films of 2023. 283-284 Oppenheimer received nomination for 13 Critics' Choice Movie Award, winning 8, 13 British Academy Film Award, winning 7, 14 Saturn Award, winning 4, and 4 Screen Actors Guild Award, winning 3, 285, 286, 287 while its score earned 3 nominations at the 66th Annual Grammy Award, winning 1. 288, 289, 290.